Who's in possession? Can we tell me? Technical group speaker. Deputy O'Sullivan.
And I'm sharing time with Deputy Finney McGrath, Mick Wallace, Catherine Murphy and Luke Flanagan. Okay.
All right.
Are you on the list?
Okay.
Sorry, there's a change. It's Deputy Boyd Barrett instead of Deputy Flanagan for the last 2 minutes.
All right. You have 2 minutes each.
Right, thank you. I think we're very aware that we have a very fractured relationship in this country right through our history with land and homes and houses. You know, looking back at our history right from the time of the plantations and up into the 19th century, when we got to the point where over 90% of the land was owned by only 5% of the population. And we can see sort of similar difficulties today with the mortgage holders. But the terms have changed. You know, then they were called evictions, now it's called repossessions. Then they were called landlords, today they're called the banks. You know, then it was rack rents, today it's unsustainable mortgages. But the common denominator is that families are losing their homes. I noted in the government amendment that they were looking at the recommendations from the report of the Interdepartmental Mortgage Arrears Working Group, that they have been adopted as the most appropriate framework for dealing with this crisis. But if those recommendations were working, then the crisis would not be worsening, and we wouldn't have 57,000 plus people not able to pay their mortgage in 1 year, and an increasing number of those in mortgage arrears. So the conclusion is that they don't seem to be working. I know that there's no one answer to the crisis, but there is a comprehensive range of options that have been suggested on both sides of the House and by the people who are working closely with those in mortgage difficulties, organisations like FLAC and Focus Point and Vincent de Paul, instead of this tactic that seems to be used far too frequently, which is a letter indicating legal action. There has to be a genuine and a real engagement between the borrower and the bank to find a sustainable and a realistic solution. On repossession, it might be an option for some, but only if it is talked through and if it is negotiated, and it certainly is not the answer in all of the cases where it seems to be coming up. Because if repossession is seen as a sustainable solution, it's going to further exacerbate the housing crisis, and a flood of repossession sales will destroy the current market levels, and it's going to fuel opportunistic cash buyers who are just looking for investment bargains. On the issue of strategic defaulters, those who can pay and won't pay, not to be tolerated, but I do think there is a need that we have an independent investigation and an assessment of the exact reality of this matter. The notion that states that mortgage arrears crisis represents the greatest social challenge facing the state, I don't agree to confine it to mortgage holders. I think we have a major housing crisis, and certainly in Dublin Central I can see it, whether it's the private rented housing, whether it is local authority housing, social housing, and the increase in homelessness. And finally, I heard the fiery words from Taoiseach and his confidence about resolving this. I hope they're a reality.